New York Jets have just posted this tweet. Jets head coach Rex Ryan has just announced Greg McElroy has concussion. Mark Sanchez will start Jets season finale on Sunday. All right, well,
wow. Goodness.
It's interesting because I went to Twitter for just a few moments, and Rich Samini, who actually covers the Jets for us, had posted the circus, continues. More drama. So, do you guys have a problem with this decision? I guess I'll start with, Chris. Chris has a problem with
I
this
do.
decision.
Big time problem with this decision. If you're waiting for Tim Tebow to go over the edge, for him to go apoplectic, this has to be the moment. You get passed over again for a quarterback that we know what he can do out there. I keep going back to those numbers in December. Last in yards for a quarterback, last in passer rating, 28th in completion percentage. We know what this guy is capable of doing. What does Tim Tebow have to do to get on the football field? This game means zero to them. They can't go anywhere. They're not going to the playoffs. They're playing on the road. This is... I don't know what to say. This is unbelievable to me. The only explanation I can see to this is that Rex Ryan must be terrified, the Jets must be terrified that Tim Tebow throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they have to bring him back next year based on one game and go through this entire circus again. That has to be their overriding fear, because there is no other reason than to give Tim Tebow a shot to go out there and see if he can be a quarterback in their system.
You know what?
At Buffalo. At Buffalo.
You know what?
Wow.
I think the reason why he's doing this, sound crazy, I think Mark Sanchez is going to be back next year. I do. I think Rex is trying to instill a little confidence in this guy because of what happened this season. If I'm Tim Tebow, I don't want to go in there. I just don't want to. You don't have any weapons. It's almost going into a losing situation. You're not going to win. And I'm not talking about the game. You're just not going to win that situation with a Tim Tebow. So to me, I think it's all about trying to build Mark Sanchez's confidence up, because I don't think they're going to be able to trade him. I don't think you could cut him because his cap number is so big. He's going to need that guy, whether he's in a backup role or maybe he's starting and they bring in a backup. But I do think he's doing this to build this guy's confidence.
The Jets want this situation to be over so badly. They do not want another game. I mean, the hits just keep coming, and it's priceless. This is a soap opera. We said it earlier in the season. Who knew it would be this juicy? At the last minute, they were left with a cliffhanger. I agree with you. They don't want him on that field. They want nothing to do with the after effect of the possibility of him maybe proving everybody wrong and then him leaving and going to another team. He's not going to be back with the Jets. It's just not going to happen. Sanchez, right now, I think it's 50-50 whether they cut bait with him or they bring him back. So it leaves what's the best case scenario. How can we save face with Sanchez, who we're probably going to have to keep and probably need something from him? Listen, this game is meaningless, and that's why you have to put Sanchez in there. But I almost feel like this could be even worse of a situation.
Do you think that Tim Tebow is like Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys 2, where he's just like, woosah, little pressure points there, trying to figure, because I don't know what else is going to take for this guy to snap, to be just completely passed over both those times.
Are we surprised? If I'm Tim Tebow, I'm so over it. I'm so over it. I had my piece last week. The bad stuff already happened. Am I surprised that I got knocked over?
But the most disappointing thing to me, or it should be to Tim Tebow, is, okay, the game doesn't mean anything, right? He said that he didn't ask to be pulled out the Wildcat. I wonder if they're going to run some Wildcat. I wonder if they're going to incorporate the Wildcat packages in here and give him a chance to run that, because he said he didn't ask to be pulled out of there. He's a football player. He wants to play football. I wonder if he's going to get the opportunity to go in there for about 10 plays as a Wildcat. I know not the starting quarterback or a quarterback, but as the Wildcat.
I believe what you're saying with, I get that with bringing, him back and maybe building some confidence towards next year. But personally speaking, I don't see how you can bring the guy back next year as your starter. I think he's just got the fan base is all against him right now.
But who y'all think they're going to get out there?
Well, we're talking about Michael Vick. Everyone.
Well, but it doesn't. There's other things that go into it as far as how they can release him and what they're going to have to pay to release him and how long they're going to have to wait to get over the fact that how much cap hit they're going to take. They won't recover from that till 2013, maybe 14, really, will be able to reap the benefits of getting rid of him. When it comes to Tim Tebow, we talked about earlier in the show, did we feel sorry for him? Does somebody owe him an apology? At this point, he's the one who's going to come out looking the best. Yeah. So no, the answer's still no. But
say.
him taking the high road and saying what he was saying, in the end, he comes out clean.
He does.
He did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
We wanted him to say more. We wanted him to yell at the coach. We wanted him to complain about the situation. He
has a lot to lose in that situation. He has a lot to lose because he could go out there and stink up the joint, throw 4 interceptions. Then all of a sudden, everybody's like, "Whoa, man! I remember how bad this guy was. I'm not going to go sign him in the offseason. Better to be thought as stiff than go out there and actually prove it."
All right. Well, the speculation and the circus continues. Let's talk about some teams that are relevant. Okay, Atlanta has locked in home field throughout the playoffs, but no one is really talking about the Falcons. Are they the most dangerous team in the NFC, Lomas?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is, one, everything's got to go through Atlanta through the NFC. They got home field advantage. 2, Matty Ryan, 33-4 since 08 at home. 33-4. So that's definitely a home advantage for those guys to get home games. And then the thing about it is they're playing good ball. To me, I think fundamentally what has to happen is the coaches, they have to sit back and they have to say, okay, we're getting ready to get into the playoffs. What's the most effective way for this team? How can we be most effective as a team in the playoffs? To me, running the ball. Sometimes when you get a lot of weapons, the Roddy Whites, the Julio Jones, the Tony Gonzalez, you get enamored with all these weapons. You feel that you got to get the ball downfield every time. You feel like you have to use these receivers. Running the ball isn't sexy. That's not a sexy thing to do, but that's an effective thing to do, because what you'll do is, like we said earlier, you're going to keep the opposing offenses on the sideline. You're going to eat that clock up. You're going to shorten the game up, and you're going to impose your will on teams. That's what you use the running game to do. I think if Atlanta gets back to the running game being their main staple, and the wide receivers and Matty Ice throwing the ball, that's secondary, I think they'll have so much more success than to come out and want to sling the ball all over the field and think about the run game separately. Use Michael Turner. That's like having a lineman in the backfield, man. You got to use this guy, and hopefully the coaches will sit back and say, this can be our best formula once we get in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think Atlanta is probably thinking they're in the best situation because nobody's really paying attention to them. And all the attention right now is in the NFC East and what the Washington Redskins are going to do, what the Cowboys are going to do. And they're just kind of floating under the radar. And if you think about, championship football teams, it always starts with the quarterback, right? And then the weapons that are surrounding him, and they can really beat you in any way you ask them to. Throw it on the perimeter with 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Tony Gonzalez does not get enough credit for what he brings to this football team. And the guy is, old as heck, yet he's playing is better than anybody, any tight end in the NFL right now. And it's a kudos to the way he just, keeps his body and stays in shape and stays healthy. But Atlanta, I think is ready. And when you think about Atlanta, you always want to go, okay, are they gonna let you down? Is it going to be the same old Falcons? Are they going to get to the point where they have an opportunity to move forward and to prove us wrong about our perception of them, and they let you down? I think this is the year that they do it. All the right pieces. They learned the mistakes last year. They've been in this situation before. I think it's the team you need to be nervous about.
You have to seriously look for reasons not to like the Falcons. I mean, you think they play a lot of close games. They've won 6 by 10 points or more. Yeah, you think that you look at the defense, you look at the offense, you're looking for reasons to find flaws in their game. And I hate to go against, Boston College's own Matty Ice. Let's go Eagles. But, I still think San Francisco is the better choice for the situation. I mean, I think their defense makes them the most dangerous team in the playoffs. When you play that brand of defensive football, I think you have to be at the advantage. And I was against Colin Kaepernick to begin with. I thought it was foolish to take out a safe quarterback like Alex Smith, a guy that's been in those situations before with a second-year player, essentially a rookie in that spot, trying to play that kind of minutes. But he's proved to be a playmaker. He's come in there. He went out there and he beat New England in that type of situation. He came up with that big pass in the fourth quarter to beat them. I think the combination of that defense and that quarterback and that kind of explosiveness they now have, that added dimension, we hear that with the 49ers all the time, added dimension. With that, I think that makes them the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, and if you look at Atlanta last year, one of their weak points on defense was the secondary. I think with a guy like Asante Samuels back there, the big hitter, I forget the safety's name, the guy that's always killing guys back there. With those guys back there, and I think they kind of bring this intimidation factor too. Asante Samuel's great with at the safety position. So you can see it's a different brand of football on the defensive side of the ball they're playing. And I think if the offense could keep that aggressive side going, they'll be successful.
They wrapped it up pretty early. You wonder just how they're going to handle the next couple weeks. You know, are they going to get too lazy? Are they going to get too complacent? You know, and how that first game happens and how they play in that first game.
Well, Christian, everyone's talking about the Broncos in the AFC, but in your opinion, who's the most dangerous team in the AFC?
It's them.
It's them. I knew you were going to say
Broncos. Yeah, I just look at the Broncos and the way they've been playing, and I just kind of think about, you know, how you should be, how a team should act, how they should play when they're going into the tail end of their season, especially, you know, when they've already pretty much kind of locked up the second seed with a first-round bye. They're getting better. They're playing weaker teams, and they're not taking their foot off the gas. Peyton Manning is getting better with his receivers. You know, he throws 3 touchdowns last week, throws for over 300 yards, and he's still wanting more. He knows that this team can get better. And if you have to play in Denver, at Mile High Stadium, okay, if you're going to have to play in that situation, if you're the Patriots, you don't want to go to Denver to play Peyton Manning, especially since you beat them the first time at home, and a couple fumbles made the difference of Peyton Manning bringing the Broncos back. I think this is a matchup team nightmare for mostly everybody in the AFC. Their defense is good enough to stop the good running team of like a Houston Texans, and they can match up well against the Patriots, who can sling the ball all over the place. If it comes down to a puncher's duel or a track meet, Peyton Manning can go blow for blow, especially against the Patriots, who have a weak secondary and give up big plays all the time.
Look, I don't care if the Patriots have to go to Denver. I don't care if they have to go to Mexico. They're still the best team in the AFC, in my opinion. I mean, the offense is so unbelievably dynamic, so unbelievably explosive, and they're not even clicking on all cylinders right now. They still haven't got Rob Gronkowski back into that lineup, and they still have that running game, which is their best running game in the last 4 or 5 years, ranked 8th in the NFL in rushing. I think that's something that's going to help them going into Denver, having more ball control in those type of situations. I like the defense, too, a little bit more. I like the way they've played defensively towards the with having Talib in there. He's a playmaker in that backfield. Devin McCourty at the safety position, a little bit more of a playmaker. They're not stout by any stretch. I'm not saying they're stout, but I think they're a little bit better than they're getting credit for at this point. That might be a bit of a difference for them.
Yeah, I like the Baltimore Ravens, and I do.
From left field.
It says the most dangerous team, and to me, they're getting healthy. If you look at them on the defensive side of the ball, you're talking about Ray Lewis. You're talking about Ed Reed. You're talking about Terrell Suggs.
Ray's not back.
Well, I'm just saying, once they get in the playoffs, I'm hoping that he'll be back.
And if he's not,
he's
are you
active
still going with?
Oh yeah, because I like what they do over there. It's a wealth of experience. If you look at all the defenses, thank you. If you look at all the defenses, to me, they're the most experienced defense on that side of the ball. You get Nada back to control that front line. My biggest question mark with them is we know the trigger man, Joe Flacco. They got a good running game in Ray Rice.
When he's hot, he's hot.
Right, and that's what we don't know. Exactly. So to me, Kerry, just hand it off. Okay. Just do the same thing I said that the other team should do, the Atlanta Falcons should do. Hand it off. Get physical with your run game. Then let your quarterback kind of work his way in there. Don't lay it on the
Doesn't help if it's 21-0, though.
In the playoffs, it always comes down to what is the best matchup. The Denver Broncos can beat you running the ball. They can beat you throwing. They're stout enough to stop the run, and they're good enough